thank you for this opportunity. My name is Marina, and I came here today with other women from Ukraine, having traveled 2,500 kilometers by bus at our own expense. And we are the representatives of thousands of Ukrainian families whose beloved ones are captured and or have gone missing. And I want to share our painful experience, our emotional limbo that we live in, knowing all too well what Russia, the terrorist state, is doing to our defenders in captivity, systematically violating the Geneva Conventions and international humanitarian law. Most of our defenders were not military in their civilian life before Russia's full-scale invasion to Ukraine, but they fulfilled their duty to defend their homeland from the enemy. My husband Mykola also stood up to defend Ukraine after 2022. And before that, he was a book designer and a writer. We have two children, aged 10 and 8. He went missing on the battlefield a year and a half ago, 550 days. During this time, I have not received any information about his fate or whereabouts, and there are tens of thousands of families like us. Those defenders have every right to humane treatment in captivity as guaranteed by international humanitarian law. But now we are here to be the voices of tens of thousands of our beloved ones captured and missing, to say that our POWs are treated not humanely. We understand that during wartime and according to international humanitarian law, a party in an armed conflict may take military personnel as prisoners of war and detain them. But at the same time, given the information on their fate and whereabouts, place of detention and medical condition, which Russia, the terrorist state, refuses to comply with. We understand that the status of missing on the battlefield might mean that a defender has been killed, but also it might mean that he or she has been captured. This is a fact that the prisoner exchanges between Russia and Ukraine include up to 15% of Ukrainian combatants who have been missing for a year or two or even more without any information on them being in captivity. This fact confirms that Russia does not provide required information on Ukrainian POWs when detaining them, although it is its direct application under international humanitarian law. So many of our defenders currently classified as missing ones are actually held in Russian captivity without any guarantees of preserving their lives. It would seem that the situation with Ukrainian POWs whose status are confirmed by ICRC and Russian authorities is completely different, but it is not. We lose track of our beloved ones even if they are confirmed. They disappear, have been moved from one prison to another without informing their families and Ukrainian authorities. We don't know their whereabouts or condition because Russia deliberately hides them and does not allow any form of communication, whether by letter, not to mention phone. Let me remind you, and you saw for yourself, that Ukrainian held Russian prisoners of war were allowed to make regular phone calls to their relatives. Russia has not established special camps for prisoners of war as required by the Geneva Conventions, and instead holds Ukrainians in secret illegal prisons. From testimonies of released from captivity, we hear of systematic tortures, beatings, electrocution, starvation, physical and psychological abuse, dog attacks, lacks of medical care, tuberculosis epidemics, intentional spread of diseases. It is particularly horrifying that there are more than 160 deaths in captivity of those POWs who have been confirmed by the ICRC. Russia does not allow the ICRC and other humanitarian organizations to visit the places of detention of Ukrainian POWs. There are 186 places of detention that are revealed on the territory of Russia and temporarily occupied territories. It is the ICRC's lack of access that makes possible all the horrors that Russia is committing against Ukrainian prisoners of war. The crimes against Ukrainian captives are not just the actions of individual guards in Russian prisons, but represent a systematic state-level policy. The international community must influence and put pressure on the Russian authorities to open the doors to the places of detention for ICRC. It is time for ICRC and states parties to Geneva Conventions to find convincing leverage over Russia so that the ICRC can fulfill its unique mandate regarding POW's treatment. The very lives of our thousands of our loved ones in Russian captivity depends on this. Thank you for your attention.